All right, and we are back here on the GSMC Football Podcast. And for the final part of the show, we're going to look through the current standings going into Week 18. A lot of stuff has been wrapped up, but there is still things that are left to be decided. Both South divisions, we don't have a winner yet, but we will, finally, once the regular season ends. So right now, we'll go through. Well, all right. So we'll go through the AFC first. So the Dolphins, they have a playoff spot. So the AFC East isn't finalized yet. So if the Bills win, they win the division. But if the Dolphins win, then they win the division. And like I talked about before, if the Bills lose, they can end up just flat out missing the playoffs completely. So we'll find out what the situation is when we get to Sunday night, because that's when these two teams play each other. But if it comes down to the Bills having to, they have to win the game to get in, that's only going to add to the intensity of, this game coming up. So, yeah, but the Dolphins are already in. Then you got the Ravens who clinched home field advantage. We'll see, if they play the starters at all on Saturday. Maybe they play them for a quarter, a half. I think you at least have them play a little bit because, everybody's talking about, well, a couple of years ago or a few years ago when they played the Titans in the playoffs, they had that long layoff because they had the first round bye. They didn't play their starters the final week. And they were really rusty. They might not do that this time around. So the Browns, I guess the Browns are going to rest their starters too because they're kind of locked into the fifth seed. But yeah, they're in the playoffs. Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback. It really is just, it's so strange that that's the case. But listen, Browns have been playing good. They've been playing good. They're a good team. They're going to be a tough team to get to face in the playoffs. Then you got the Steelers at 9-7. The Bengals got eliminated. So yeah, and then you go to the AFC South. It's a three-way tie right now, 9-7. You got the Colts and the Texans. They're going to be playing on Saturday night, which is a big game. And then of course you got the Jags playing the Titans on Sunday. We'll see what happens. But obviously, whoever loses on Saturday, it's going to be a tough I don't think it eliminates the teams from the playoffs, but it obviously will make it significantly harder. You're going to need a lot of help to still get in. Chiefs, they clinched the division, the AFC West, so they're probably not going to play anybody next week against or this upcoming week against the Chargers. But yeah, who's gonna knock off the Chiefs? Who's gonna be that team that does that? In that division, because it just seems like it's gonna be the Chiefs every year. Then in the NFC East, so you got the Eagles and the Cowboys both clinching playoff spots. So really, it's if the Cowboys win, the division is theirs. The Eagles need to win and a Cowboys loss for them to, get the division. But they really hurt their chances losing to the Cardinals. So we'll see. Lions, they clinched the division. We know that already. Packers and the Vikings are still in it. Packers is just a win and in scenario. Vikings, they need to win and a lot of help. They need the Packers to lose. They need a lot of teams. They need Seattle to lose. They need teams in the South to lose. Yeah, it's going to be a tall task. Packers, easiest task is you win and you're in. So, and we'll see if they do that. Because the funny thing is, so you got the Bears who have nothing to play for basically, coming into Lambeau Field, final week of the regular season. In the Packers, all the Packers have to do is win and they're in. Last year was the same thing. Coming off of a blowout win against the Vikings, which again happened on Sunday. You're playing against a divisional opponent that has nothing to play for at home, and you just need to win and you're in. And you got Seattle, who could basically get in if you don't. If it happens 2 years in a row, that would be, Packers fans would probably, well, I don't want to say they're going to lose their minds, but they're not going to be happy. But Jordan Love is playing really well. But the Bears have been are a better team than they were when these teams faced each other in Week 1. So I think it should be a good game. So we'll see what happens. Then you got in the NFC South, you got the Saints and the Bucks both tied. Bucks, they just got to win and they're in. I'm nervous that they're not going to win. I feel like they're going to lose the game. Now I don't know if I'm going to take the Panthers because I don't trust the Panthers either, but I could definitely see the Bucks losing. And everything we talked about with Baker Mayfield in these final weeks of the season is all out the window then if they lose this game. Saints, they finally looked like a good team, against the Bucks on Sunday, and if they played like that all year, they would have had the division. And the Falcons, they still have a chance. I mean, they need the Bucks to lose and them to win. So we'll see. I mean, Taylor Heineke might not play in this game because he's a little banged up. So we'll see. Then we go to the NFC West, of course. The 49ers, they wrapped up the division home field advantage. Then you got the Rams. They're in the playoffs. Back there, for the first time since the Super Bowl year. Obviously didn't make it last year with all the injuries that they had. Seahawks are 8-8, still in it. Then we go over to the wild card situation. So right now, you got the Ravens at the 1, Dolphins at the 2, Chiefs at the 3, Jags at the 4. Those are the top 4 seeds. The Browns are basically locked into the 5 seed. You got the Bills at the 6, the Colts at the 7, the Texans and the Steelers. Those are the other teams involved. So, I mean, the Steelers lost to both the Colts and the Texans. The Steelers basically they need a Bills loss because the Steelers have a better conference record. So I think that's why. So they would get in over the Bills if the Bills were to lose and they were to win. So they would end up being the 7 seed, because the Colts and the Texans both beat them this year. The Texans beat them 30-6. Colts beat them 30-13. The Steelers have to win on Saturday, and then they need a Bills loss, and then they should get it. I think they also need a Jags loss too, because the Jags also beat them. That's kind of how the wild card there is shaping out. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the Jags, it's been a rough stretch for them. How many games have they lost in a row now? Well, actually, no. Well, they just beat the Panthers. But before that, they were on a 4-game losing streak. So now you're playing the Titans. So we'll see, if they can win that game. They should, but who knows? Then you go over to the NFC. So the 49ers, they're locked in at the 1. Cowboys at the 2, Lions at the 3, Buccaneers at the 4. I see the Cowboys winning, getting the 2 seed. Lions are going to be locked in at the 3. And then the Buccaneers are at the 4. So they'll play most likely the Eagles. Then you got the Rams who are basically locked in at the 6. And then it's that 7 seed. It's going to come down to, the Packers, the Seahawks, the Saints. Packers at home, you would think they're going to win, but it is going to be a tough game. It is going to be a tough game. But I'd like to see them get in. And the Packers has been a roller coaster because I was like, oh, maybe they'll be a wild card team. Then it's like, maybe not. Now it's like, maybe they will. Then maybe not because then they lost to the Giants. And then they lost to the Bucs at home. Now they're back in the conversation again. But does that mean that they are going to finish it off and get in this time? We'll see. Because if they win, they're going to play either the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Lions. If the Lions win and then the Eagles and the Cowboys both lose, which I think both teams should win. But again, with the Eagles, who knows? They just lost to the Cardinals. For me, so I'm going to say, well, I think the Texans will win on Saturday, so I think they get in. I think the Jags win, so unfortunately the Colts are going to get knocked out. I just have a hard time seeing the Bills not making the playoffs, so I'm going to say they win and get in. So the Steelers, unfortunately, at 10-7, will not make this. So the Steelers will finish with a better record this year than they did last year, but they won't make the playoffs still. But if they didn't lose to the Cardinals and the Patriots, you would have had a better record. You could have been locked into a playoff spot, but fortunately not. I think the Packers get in. I think they should. But, I mean, listen, I just said all these scenarios. One of them is going to not be right. So, but we'll see. I'm just happy that the Rams got in. I did not want to see. I did not want to see this team not. I didn't want to see this team not make it. I mean, I think they should be in. And listen, give them credit because I was like, I don't know if this team's gonna make it. But once Kyron Williams back, that changed everything because this team was putting up 30 points a game. Stafford was playing better. Cooper Kupp, was playing how he not exactly like a couple of years ago, but still, it's finding the end zone more. Puka Nacua has been great. Demarcus Robinson has made some plays. Scored a touchdown in 4 straight games. I mean, this team has definitely looked better. So this team deserves to be in the wild card. And right now, we might be getting that Stafford Lions matchup in the first round. See, but everyone's talking about that. But what about on the other side? Jared Goff's going to be playing his former team in the playoffs. But I guess it's because Stafford's going back to Detroit for the first time since the trade. Because the last time these teams played, it was the year they went to the Super Bowl. The Lions weren't very good. And that was at SoFi. Now it's, Goff made his return home to, SoFi, even though it was his home for, a year, basically. So I don't even know if you really want to consider that. But I'm really hoping that that's the first round matchup because that should be a great game. Really should. You got 2 good offenses going at it. Rams are another team that you got to be careful about with the playoffs. Because they have a really good offense. And of course, Aaron Donald can wreck a game on defense. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it with the show for today. Thank you guys for watching, for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow. This is no Thursday night game. That's it. No more Thursdays. No more Thursday previews. So we'll talk about some other things. I know I did mention it before, but I did want to talk about the Dave Tepper throwing the drink on the Jacksonville fan. I think we'll get into that at some point. Between tomorrow or Friday. We'll figure it out. And also we got the baseball show on Friday as well. I mean, again, these weeks just fly by. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so no Thursday night game tomorrow, so there'll be no Thursday night preview. Obviously no Monday night game either, but we got Saturday games, we got the Sunday games, and then you got the National Championship on Monday between Michigan and Washington again. Went 2-0 in the college football playoff picks. Taking Washington and Michigan. That ended up, again, I'm not a genius. I'm not a college football expert. But, getting called out and saying I'm going to go 0-2, what do you got to say now? That's in the comments. What do you got to say now? But it is what it is. I mean, listen, it's all luck. But, yeah, so with that is all the time that we have for today. I thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm your host, Kenneth Grunfelder, signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.